Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. Hope your day is off to a great start. In today's video, I'm going to take you through my home fragrance empties from the month of November. Honestly, there's a lot. I finished a lot of candles this past month, so we're definitely gonna dig into this video as quickly as possible here. However, if you have any questions about any of these fragrances, pretty much everything that I'm sharing here, with the exception of maybe a couple of candles, they all have in-depth reviews already here on my channel. So when I share an in-depth review, the candle has been burned either a third of the way down, or I like to kind of wait until the halfway point. Usually if you can get to the halfway point of a candle, you're pretty good to go for the remainder. It's not always the case, fully aware of that. I've had candles go south, but usually if you can get to the halfway point with a candle especially and not experience a bunch of issues, then you should be good to go for the remainder. But this video here allows me to kind of give you guys some final thoughts, let you know whether I finished a candle by burning it or crocking it or melting it underneath my candle lamp. Also, if you don't know what a candle crock or a candle lamp is, check out the description box. There's actually a lot of information down there in terms of where you can find everything that I'm sharing here. There's discount codes, there's other candle related videos that might be interesting to you. So check the description box out, and questions, obviously leave those in the comments, but sometimes you might be able to find your answer in the description box. So don't forget to take a look at that, especially if this is one of your first videos here. So also, if you're new, please subscribe and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. So without further ado, I'm literally gonna start grabbing these and we're just gonna dig right in. I'm mostly gonna tell you just what I thought about the fragrance, some general burn stuff, and then let you know obviously how I finished the specific candle. So I'm gonna grab this first one here, and we are starting with a Cringle. Now this is Cringle Reserve Speakeasy, and this was a part of one of the recent Reserve launches with Cringle. I fell in love with this fragrance. Now this has is it bourbon? Yep, there's a bourbon note in this one that really comes across as fruity and definitely a little bit sweet. I was not expecting to absolutely fall in love with this fragrance because I typically don't love the boozy ones, but I tell you what, I'm in love with this. Now I burned it I think I burned it probably down to about here. So I maybe had about a third of the candle left. I knew that I would get a little bit more life out of it by popping it into one of my candle crocks, and so I did that. So I finished it that way. I went ahead and poured out the remainder of the wax and created a fire starter for myself. There's a video all about how I do that in the description box. We do have an outdoor fireplace here at our home, and it is covered, so we use it year round. So it might be December, but I'm still sitting outside every single evening in front of our fireplace, and I live in Oregon. I live in the Portland metro area, so it's cold. I mean, at night, like, it's getting down into the 30s. On top of that, we have rain, but we love our backyard, and we were lucky enough to have found this place pretty much completed. Like, someone put a lot of money into this yard at one point, so we're just reaping the benefits of that. But this covered patio was such a game changer for us. So I like to make those fire starters because it helps us get our fires going way faster. I tell you what, those things are super effective. Craig actually loves that I make them. So anyway, let's keep going. This here is a HomeWorx TSV candle from Christmas in July. This is Cookies for Santa. Now, this one here I received in PR. I am a HomeWorx ambassador or affiliate, so from time to time they do send us a few things here and there, and we're just allowed to share our thoughts with you. So this year with the TSV, they sent us one fragrance each. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. All I know is that I received this one. So Cookies for Santa was really delicious, you guys. I didn't really get into burning it much when I received it for Christmas in July. I did a couple of initial burns and I thought it was really delicious. But when I finished burning it, I kind of fell in love with it a little bit more. I do think that QVC, I was gonna say QFC. QFC is a grocery store. QVC probably still has some of these July TSV candles in stock. They might be on a greater discount at this point in time. I don't know. I mean, the way that prices fluctuate at QVC is kind of wild to me, but anyway, this is still available. I really do love the fragrance. It does come in a set of 2 when you order from QVC. I don't think this is out on the Rakuten & Co website. I don't think it is. So, but at any rate, it's delicious. Definitely check out the in-depth review if you are a big fan of those cookie, more gourmand type scents. Okay, sorry about that little interruption there. My boss was texting me. Okay, let's move on to Scentworx Hot Apple Cider. This was actually a gift from my friend Fiona. This smelled exactly like those hot apple cider drink mix, the powder drink mix that you can buy. I did not burn this. I did melt it underneath one of my candle lamps. So obviously when I reached the last layer and poured that off, the wicks came out. I'll show you another one here where the wicks remained in the bottom here. You can, well, you can see that wick on the side. Let's see if I can, there, you can see those wicks still right there. These did not come out when I poured the wax out of here, but I really like this fragrance a lot, and it performed extremely well underneath my candle lamp at the top of the stairs here. I will say one of my biggest disappointments with Rakuten & Co this year were the changes that they made to Scentworx in terms of the packaging. I am not a fan of the new packaging. It still has kind of an interesting, unique shape to it, but they put one of those like really cheap, like, you know, like this style metal lid on it. I don't love what they did with Scentworx. Now, granted, I was never huge into Scentworx in terms of the Rakuten brands that are currently available. My heart still lies pretty much almost exclusively with HomeWorx. But I was disappointed to see them do away with these really nice thick glass lids here that had the, you know, the nice little gasket on them. Yeah, it was definitely a little bit disappointing to see that. So I'm definitely thankful to Fiona for gifting this to me. I had not purchased this myself before. So it's great scent. It's great scent. So for what it's worth, I did like the fragrance. Okay, here we have sprinkled macarons. I don't feel like I have to tell you guys how I feel about this fragrance. I adore it, and I burn this to the ground. I love this fragrance. I do have a couple of backups still. I don't know if it's currently in stock. If it is, I honestly cannot recommend it enough. It has a really beautiful, like, almond gourmand note to it. It's delicious. So if you are in the market for something like that, definitely check out this reserve candle from Cringle. I have repurchased this one multiple times myself, and I think I still have 2 or 3 backups in my collection. So I cannot get enough of that. And when that becomes available in a Four-Wick version, I am here for it. So let's, I feel like all of a sudden I'm grabbing all of the Cringles, but they're kind of towards the top here. So I just kind of jump from brand to brand. So hopefully you guys don't mind. This is my vintage pomander fragrance. This was my collab candle with Cringle, which still I am so incredibly grateful for the opportunity to create this. I love this fragrance so much. I have burned through a few of these since it was created, and it just, every time, it just brings me so much joy, so much happiness. The reason, by the way, I burned it all the way down. The reason that I selected an orange pomander fragrance is because it reminded me of my time growing up in Germany. My mom was pretty young when she had me, so I spent a lot of time at my Oma's house. Oma is grandmother in German. So anyway, spent a lot of time at my Oma's house, and I would definitely get in her hair. I was one of those kids that was always like, what are you doing? Can I help? What can I do? So during the holidays, she would keep me busy and out of her hair by sitting me down on the couch and would give me pomander supplies. So she would give me a bowl of oranges, she would give me a bowl of cloves, she would give me some ribbon so that I could, you know, tie ribbons around them, and I just made orange pomanders for her. So that is kind of the inspiration behind me selecting this particular fragrance. I know a lot of you expected me to go with a gourmand, but anyway, this candle is available again this year, so they did restock it like Mick said that they would, which I'm so grateful for. I placed an order for a case myself because I don't ever want to be without this. This one here was one of my original ones from 2023, and I do think that in the year that it was sitting in my collection, it did improve in strength and throw. I do think that with certain types of wax, letting your candle cure or marinate, whatever you want to call it, it can sometimes increase the strength and throw. It's not the case for every single candle. For me, I did not find that paraffin candles did that, but other softer types of waxes definitely, I think, matured a little bit the longer you let them sit. Now, that being said, you shouldn't have to let your candles sit, but I don't know. I buy a lot of candles myself. I don't go through everything in, you know, a given season, and so things get saved for the following year. I'm a very seasonal burner, so once the holidays are over, any holiday fragrances that are remaining, I don't continue burning those. I cut them off and I just save them for next year. And I really do notice, especially with soy wax, that it does mature, the fragrance does mature. And in some cases, I think the candles smell even better if you are able to do that. But at any rate, for what it's worth, I love that fragrance, and I've got another one burning downstairs right now. So this is a Christmas Stroll. This was another one that I burned completely down. This is the, for those of you that are not super familiar with Cringle, they do a 100% soy formula. And I find this to be probably the cleanest burning candles that I have in my collection. I am very particular about the burn. At this point in time, because I spent so much money painting this house when we first moved in. It's a larger home with higher ceilings, and I think we spent probably $15,000 to hire painters to come in and paint the whole house. I don't personally, I mean, if someone wants to give it to me, I'll gladly take it from you, but I don't have another $15,000 anytime soon to put towards like repainting my ceilings and my walls if my candles are messy and sooting all over the place. I let that happen at our last house, and I tell you what, it took me forever to fix all of the damage from the excessive candle burning that I was doing. And at that time, I was burning a lot more paraffin candles because I was still very much into Yankee, and it just made a mess out of our last house. So I promised Craig when we moved into this house that I would not let that happen. So if that means that I have to burn less candles and maybe sacrifice a little bit on strength and throw to get a cleaner burn, I'm willing to do that. But honestly, I find that soy performs really well. I don't smell the soy undertones like a lot of people do, but in paraffin candles, I can smell that paraffin undertone. Everybody's nose is different, so you just kind of have to go with what works best for you. But for me, in this house here at this point in time, I limit my burns, and I'm just very careful about the type of wax that I use. So anyway, for what it's worth, that was that rant. This candle, I should have blown this one out because it did get very messy, and you can tell towards this last burn here, you can see that schmutz in the bottom. Now, I will say it wasn't like completely sooty. I think it was mostly just the residue from the wicks falling within the wax, because I don't see a lot of other soot or anything like that. But this was HomeWorx Deck the Halls. This was actually a leftover from last year. I hated the label. It was red, and then it had these like silver Christmas trees just Christmas tree silhouettes on it. I don't know, it didn't speak to me, so I just cut it off. It's very easy to cut these HomeWorx labels off because let me show you what, let me grab this one. These are just shrink wrapped on. So you can just take a knife and score this and it peels right off, and there's no glue residue or anything like that. But I like the fragrance a lot. It's definitely, it has eucalyptus in it, and oddly enough, like, it's a eucalyptus that I can manage. I'm not big on that particular fragrance note, but I did enjoy this one. So if the packaging was a little bit more to my liking, I would probably actually definitely reconsider purchasing the Deck the Halls fragrance, which kind of says a lot because I do think that with it having eucalyptus, it definitely puts it on the like, do I really like this category? But yeah, I definitely, I did enjoy that one, so worth repurchasing. All right, here, ooh, my friend here got a little messy, as you can tell. So this is a Nest candle, obviously. This is Nest Spiced Orange and Clove. This is another orange palmetto type scent. So here's the thing with Nest candles. They use a really soft wax. They don't state outright on their website, at least the last time that I checked, which admittedly was like probably more than a year ago, they don't state the types of waxes that they use in their formulation. I'm sure it's a blend, but back in the day, I think I remember reading that they use a coconut wax blend. I think it's probably still the same. It's a little bit softer than even soy wax is. The problem that I have with Nest candles is that I cannot leave them lit for very long. Usually I limit myself to a 3-hour burn with these. I let this one go for 6 hours, which is way too long, and this is what happened. So you can see that discoloration up here, that's sooting. This is what I'm trying to avoid having go on my walls and my ceilings. I just wasn't paying attention. I lost track of time. It's a great fragrance. I actually have this happen a lot more with their 3-wick sizes. And my friend Drew, he bought a 5-wick of their holiday fragrance. He sent me a picture of his at the halfway point. So dirty, so sooty, just awful. Drew knows how to burn candles, and so he was like, I don't know why it's doing this. And I was like, how long are you burning it? And he was like, not excessively at all. They just, for whatever reason, the larger sizes, they will just discolor very easily, very quickly. I have better luck with this 8-ounce size, so this is actually what I just pretty much exclusively purchased at this point. If I can find a 3-wick for a crazy good deal, I'll get it, but I know that I'm gonna melt it underneath a candle lamp because yeah, I don't want to deal with this. So this candle did fine up until the last burn when I just let it go a little bit too far, and this is what happened. So watch yourself with Nest candles. And I'm still buying Nest candles. I love so many of Laura Slatkin's fragrances. They are fantastic, but I think it's really important to stick with the 8-ounce 1-wicks versus like their larger sizes. So okay, here we have vanilla and patchouli from the Bath & Body Works Aromatherapy line. So I did end up finishing this one in my candle crock in this room here. I loved this fragrance, very basic. It's mostly vanilla, patchouli, and sandalwood. So beautiful, so relaxing, so soothing, just gorgeous. I don't think this is currently available, but if it ever comes back, you should try this. Even if you're like, you patchouli, nope. That's a good patchouli. That's a nice, more perfumey patchouli. It's not super earthy, not like the dirty hippie patchouli that maybe you're thinking about in your head. So that's a wax melt. We'll get to those last. Okay. Garland Berry. This was a leftover last year from HomeWorx. Obviously one of their 3-wicks. You guys have already seen this one. I like this one. I think it's really good. I obviously melted it underneath one of my lamps and it did fantastic under there. Here we have pomegranate and fir. This is new from Cringle for holiday 2024. I did review all of the new holiday candles from the Cringle Classic Jar line, which is this line here, as well as the Country Candle line. So you can check those out on the Cringle and Country Candle playlist. I really like this scent. It is a little bit more of a, It definitely has a little touch of perfuminess to it. And I know a lot of people, now that we're at the end of the year, I'm starting to see people kind of talk about their thoughts about what Cringle put out this year. And I think a lot of people are not super pumped about a lot of the perfumey scents. That's kind of what I'm gathering from my comments, is that a lot of the perfumey scents didn't really go over the best this year, and they really hit the perfume hard in 2024. I'm hoping that maybe in 2025, Cringle decides to go down maybe a little bit more of a gourmand route. I still think that when it comes to gourmand fragrances, that HomeWorx has some of the best. I do think Cringle has the potential because they have that delicious sprinkled macarons. They have the absolutely amazing jelly donut. There's a lot of great gourmands that Cringle has come out with, but they just don't put them out as frequently as, I don't know, I personally think they should. But anyway, this one burned great. I did finish the last little bit of it in one of my Crocs. But a nice clean burn. This residue that you see here, this isn't like sooting or anything, it's just wax, right? Like it's the white creamy wax that's just kind of clings to the side of the jar, but lovely clean burn, loved it. This here, okay, this is Frosted Spice. This was new for 2024 as well. And I did not love this on cold sniff. This was actually one of my daughter's favorite fragrances when she first stuck her nose in it. But I wasn't really that enthralled with it. But when I lit it, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually really like this. This is one of those fragrances that really transformed. It did not come across as overly spicy. On cold sniff, I thought, whoa, this is way too much like borderline spicy cinnamon. I don't like a really heavy, like, you know, like the Mike's Red Hots, that type of cinnamon. I hate that super spicy cinnamon. And that's what I was afraid this was going to be. It's that on cold. Pretty much that on cold to me, but when I lit it, it warmed up into a more like gourmand, like softer, more Ceylon type cinnamon. So yeah, anyway, this was pretty great and I would actually repurchase it. I know, from like really not caring for it when I did my first sniff impressions to now saying that I would repurchase it. That's a big leap, but that's how much that one changed once you actually lit it up. Some fragrances, man, they can really transform and you can really change your opinion about a scent. So that's why I like to do the first sniff impressions, because I can then come back and let you guys know, you know, whether you really need to like light something first before having an opinion about it. So anyway, all right, here comes Santa Claus. This was new from Country Candle this year, and obviously this one also went into a Croc. You don't see any of the wicks there. So I burned this one, I think probably to about the halfway point, maybe a little bit below. This is a little bit more of a fresh, slightly more outdoorsy, cooler type of holiday tree scent. I liked it. But I prefer the warmer holiday tree scents. So for example, Christmas stroll, and then let me grab it, but it's way over here, so I gotta reach. Christmas, let's discuss the Four-Wick. This fragrance is incredible. But you guys, these are the new Four-Wicks that Cringle put out. I was really excited about these. I knew these were coming a long time ago. And I was really excited about the idea of these because I'm a big fan of a fat candle. So here is a regular, this is a 22 ounce Cringle classic jar. This is a 32 ounce Four-Wick classic jar. So they kept the exact same style with this really nice base here and the beautiful heavy glass lid with the gasket. You guys, this burned like a frickin' rock star. Now, I know that some of the other ambassadors who received different fragrances were saying that theirs wasn't really that much stronger than the 2-wick versions of the fragrances that they had requested. We were allowed to select one fragrance that we were interested in reviewing in this new format, and mine, I knew it was gonna be Christmas because we were coming up on the holidays, and I was like, perfect, and I love this scent. So Mine burned extremely well. You can see here a little bit of that wax residue obviously remained behind, but a super clean burn. And the strength and throw of this was outrageously strong. This filled the entire downstairs of my house. I did not have to light another candle. Now, my hope is that eventually all of the Four-Wicks will get to that point. I'm definitely going to be purchasing a lot more Cringle Four-Wicks next year than I am 2-wicks, provided they have them in the fragrances that I'm looking for, because that's really what's most important to me, is that I get the fragrances that I want. But based on my experience with this, I will wholeheartedly give my money to Cringle and invest in these 4-wick sizes here. So I'll continue to review these for you. Even if I've already reviewed the fragrance itself, I don't like to re-review fragrances per se, but I will do updated reviews of the new format in those fragrances. So for example, the sprinkled Macarons, once I can finally get this in a 4-wick, I will review the 4-wick version, let you guys know about the difference in strength and throw, all that jazz. But I love this. It burned absolutely perfectly and it extinguished itself. I can see the wick clips. I don't know, I loved it. It was great. I will say I did have to limit the burn a little bit more on these because I did notice that the wax started to discolor a little bit more. That does not happen with these 2-wick jars, but it did start to happen with the 4-wick. So I think limiting the burn to about probably 4 hours or so is ideal when it comes to this new format here. A lot of times companies will give you a recommendation on the burn time. Let's see here. So Cringle says, do not burn candle for more than 3 to 4 hours at a time. I would agree with that. If you are getting like a ton of discoloration, maybe think about how long you're burning your candles. I mean, if you're burning a candle for 8 hours and the recommended time is 3 to 4 hours, can't be really sad when it starts to like get all gross and discolored on you. I don't know. I've gotten really big about looking at, you know, the bottoms of my candles and just following the recommended burn times. I have found that like probably 8 or 9 times out of 10, that gets me the best burn out of, you know, whatever candle it is that I'm burning. So let's keep going. Fig Marmalade from HomeWorx. Listen, if you liked the brown sugar and fig fragrance from Bath & Body Works back in the day, you need to try this. I think this smells exactly like brown sugar and fig. And I wore that in the body care line for probably a solid 3 years straight when it was out. I just thought that smelled so good. This candle smells almost exactly like that fragrance from them. So I did order another duo. And I'm tempted, just because they are kind of on a clearance price right now at why do I keep wanting to call it QVC? Okay, I'm gonna call it QFC, but just know that that means QVC. Anyway, I'll specifically link that one down below. It's at a really great price point right now, so if you wanna try it, just don't buy it all. I'd love to be able to have that one again in the future as well. So, okay, let's keep going. This is Heartwood. This is one of my favorite perfumey fragrances that Cringle put out this year in the Reserve line. The notes in here are sandalwood, green, sage, spice, patchouli, and amber. Really the main focus with this fragrance is the sandalwood, the patchouli, and the amber. This does not smell like dirty hippie patchouli. This was very soft, very pretty, just a stunning fragrance. Anyway, I burned it down quite a bit and then decided to melt the last little bit of it to try to extend my life with it. So good. Will absolutely repurchase that. Okay, Deck the Halls. Another one of these 3-wicks that I ended up just melting. Oh, it's funny. These all ended up in a row here. That is not how these wick clips originally started. Usually, so here's the thing that I want to stress. If you put a candle underneath a lamp for like the first half of the candle, you can then definitely relight that after you trim those wicks down. But if you were to put this in a candle crock, and these particular 3-wicks from HomeWorx do fit into candle crocks, by the way, if you put it in the crock. The heat source is at the bottom, and then it wraps its way around and melts everything all at once, right? It also will loosen the glue on those wick clips down there, and then those wicks can just float around. That is why you never relight a candle that you put into a crock. But like I said, you got a little bit more leeway with a lamp that way. But also if you're like down near the end, I wouldn't necessarily risk it, because I have had wick clips move and dislodge during my last couple of melt sessions underneath a lamp as well. So be mindful, but it's a little bit easier to do it with a lamp. Okay, here we have pumpkin spice latte. This one I never even bothered to light. This was my second one. The very first one that I burned, I ended up burning it to about the halfway point, and it just became extremely discolored and gross smelling. So I decided to pop it into a crock, and it smelled a whole lot better. It smelled more like the original fragrance. And obviously no soot. So with the second one that I had purchased as a backup, I just decided to put the whole thing into the crock to begin with. And I had this going for 2 weeks straight, basically 24/7. I do not turn my crocks off until I can no longer smell the fragrance. And at that point, I will turn the crock off and take the wax out and then use it for making wax and stuff. All right, here we have gingerbread tiramisu. This was another one that I burned to the halfway point and then popped into a crock to enjoy the rest of it. I love this fragrance. I had a really good experience with this one. The candles in both the Country Candle line and the Cringle Classic Jar line for Christmas 2024 were a little hit and miss this year. So if you are interested in any of those fragrances, go watch my reviews first, because the strength and throw definitely varied. I'm used to that a little bit more with Country Candle, because they're still trying to figure out the switch from the paraffin to soy for this line, but they've kind of perfected it for this line, which is why I was so surprised that a couple of my classic jars did not perform strength and throw wise as well as they normally do. So here is another candle that Fiona gifted me. She actually gave these to me, I think it was last year. So I did melt this one as well, and it was underneath one of my lamps. It's the spiced mulled wine. I don't know why that's hard for me to say. This was juicy red apple, red wine, mulling spices, and clove bud. Oh my gosh, this is such a great scent. It really does smell like mulled wine. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Glühwein, which I love around the holidays. So really enjoyed that one. Here we go. This is one of those new Christmas fragrances that had abysmal strength and throw this year. I have no idea what happened with the sugar plum and myrrh. Usually sugar plum scents have a nice oomph to them. Plum is very noticeable, right? Not this. I could barely smell this, you guys. Barely. But what I can smell smells amazing, which is what broke my heart, because I love the scent, but I just did not get very much out of this at all. They do have it in the Four-Wick. Now, I'm a little nervous about purchasing the Four-Wick, but maybe if that one goes on sale at the end of year clearance sale, I might think about grabbing that for next year. Because like I said, I really love the fragrance. It's really a lovely, sweet, juicy plum. But yeah, the performance, I don't know, that was rough. If you purchased the Four-Wick version of this, will you let me know how it did? I know some of you said you were going to, despite the fact that my review was so rough of the 2-wick version. So will you please let me know down below how that's going for you? Yeah. All right, chocolate peanut butter cup from HomeWorx. All right, this was a PR item. And I think Harry forgot to put the peanut butter in here. This mostly just smelled like chocolate. Not bad, it's delicious chocolate. But yeah, and it burned great. Listen, no issues, no problems, no discoloration, no soot, no wick movement, no wicks keeling over. Wicks were great. Look at those guys down there, doing good. But this mostly smelled like chocolate. And not even dark chocolate, milk chocolate, which is not my personal favorite. But it is nice. It is a nice chocolate, I will say. For it being milk chocolate, it's a really nice milk chocolate. But I was hoping for a peanut butter cup. because my husband is obsessed with Reese's peanut butter cups, and I thought it'd be so fun for him to have a fragrance in his favorite, you know, candy. But yeah, no, not from this one. Please recommend a good peanut butter candle to me if you have one. And then I'll mix it with this one, and then I will allow him to experience that. Okay, here's Apple Crisp from Bath and Body Works. There's like one lonely wick that stayed in there when I poured the wax out. Okay, so I burned this one a few times, but it started dudding out on me pretty quickly. You can see that this one definitely had some, well, maybe you'll be able to see it, some puny wick syndrome happening. Can you see that small little black section there? That was what was above the wax, so really not very much. I just decided to pop it into a crock. It's a great fragrance, so good, but it dudded out on me. So, by the way, who's excited about Candle Day? I am gonna partake this year. It has been years, literal years, since I have been to the Bath and Body Works Candle Day sale. I was really trying hard to whittle down my Bath and Body Works candle collection, which was excessive. It was so excessive, you guys. But they're bringing back Vanilla Balsam, and I need more of that. So I will be going for that and a few other Christmas fragrances. So I'll share a haul with you. I'm gonna try really hard not to go ham though, because one, I shouldn't, because I need to be buying presents for other people at this. Okay, my camera cut me off there. I've been talking for way too long at this point, so I know I need to rein it in. This is just something that I struggle with, but yeah, I will be participating in Candle Day this year, but I'm not going to stock up on things. I mostly just want Vanilla Balsam and then a few other holiday fragrances that I'm interested in terms of reviewing. I don't want my Bath and Body Works candle collection to get out of control. By the way, towards the end of this month, I'm gonna be sharing some information with you guys about my candle plans for 2025. Because I review candles here on my YouTube channel, I always kind of have to create a budget for what I want to buy the following year. You know, I have to think about where I spend my money and the types of fragrances that I spend my money on. So I will definitely share with you guys what my game plan is for this next year. Things are they'll be a little bit different. So, but I think it's gonna be good, and it's going to help me maintain a more reasonable collection. So, Harvest Hot Chocolate. This was delicious and delightful. I received one in PR, and then I purchased the backup because it was really, really good. This actually reminded me of a Mexican hot chocolate. The last burn here was kind of interesting. But it extinguished itself. Like, it hit the wick clips and extinguished itself, but you can see quite a bit of wax still there on the bottom. Sometimes you will have a HomeWorx candle where, no, you can't really tell with that one. Sometimes they will burn so low where you basically have almost no wax left. And sometimes you'll still be left with kind of a thick layer at the bottom. I'm not the person to dig this out and put it in a melter, but you certainly could. You can pop this in the freezer and then, you know, use a knife to break it out. But I don't know, I finished this candle. I got my money's worth out of this. Like I said, this was the one that I purchased myself because I loved the sample that they sent so much. So if you are into that more like spicy Mexican hot chocolate, you definitely want to check that one out. All right, this is Fireside Chai. Now, this smelled more like a holiday cider type fragrance to me. This was new for holiday 2024 for the Country Candle line. Chai fragrances to me have spices in them, and I'm talking like cardamom. I don't know if you've ever had a chai tea, you know the spices that I'm talking about. For some reason, like they're not popping into my head right now, but this did not smell like a chai tea at all. This was quite fruity and cidery. Even the notes on the bottom read bourbon, cider, wood smoke, wood, amber, and spice. To me, none of those equate chai. So yeah, there's no tea note in here. There's no cardamom. There's, you know, none of the usual like chai spices. So I don't know. I feel like this was misnamed, but other than that, I think it was a good scent. A little light. is a little light, so watch the review if you're interested in it. Next is Autumn Pumpkin from HomeWorx. Now this is a 3-wick format that I melted underneath one of my lamps. I have multiple lamps and multiple Crocs that I use, so that's how I'm able to get through all of these. But this Autumn Pumpkin here was from a HomeWorx TSV. There were 3 candles and it was from 2020. Yeah, this was a 2020 TSV. I believe the other fragrances were Scarlet Woods and Spiced White Pumpkin. I thought I might have another, no, that was it. I think those were the 3 fragrances that were in there. Autumn Pumpkin is one of my favorites from HomeWorx. I like this one even around the holidays as well. But I did melt this one from start to finish and it was delightfully strong underneath my lamps, so that's good. All right, we have 3 more candles. Let's finish those really quickly. I know, this is such a long video. All right, this is White Pumpkin from Bath & Body Works. I did burn this one a little bit and then also popped it into a Croc to finish it. I liked it. I don't know that the White Pumpkin from Bath & Body Works is my favorite white pumpkin, however, so I'm not sure that I would repurchase it in the future. I would probably opt for a newer fragrance to be able to review instead of getting that again. This is Volcanic Black Pine from Cringle. This was also from the recent Reserve launch. Now, I burned this one all the way down. I really like this one, you guys. Again, we're talking another kind of more perfumey, well, a little bit more masculine perfume, if you will, cologne-y type of fragrance here, but I really just liked it so much for whatever reason. This was definitely the year where I started getting into a little bit more of these like masculine type fragrances. My nose changed a lot over the last couple of years. I am grateful for that because instead of like narrowing my likes, I feel like I expanded my likes. So I'm now enjoying hearth type fragrance. I'm now enjoying more perfumey scents. I feel like I'm just a little bit more open. I don't know. I'm going through a lot of changes in my body. I am in my, I've passed 45 at this point, so I'm on the downhill slope towards 50 here. And I do think that just with hormones and just life changes, it can really affect your nose a lot. For me, it's actually been for the better, but for some people, it is for the worse. So I don't know. Let me know what camp you're in. All right, Under the Tree. Okay, the last burn here was a little rough. I don't know why this wick on this side just gave out. It did. It was fine, but I don't know, maybe like a breeze caught it or whatever, but it extinguished itself. And then when I went to go you know, blow the candle out at the end of the evening, I noticed like, oh shoot. So then I tried to light it to see if I could just, you know, like enjoy this little hunk of wax over here, but no, not so much. So anyway, other than that, this one burned fine. I actually wonder if Stella maybe blew it out. Sometimes that little stinker will do that. Like she'll mess with me and blow my candles out. But sometimes she'll just blow out like one wick, which then, as we all know, ruins the candle, and then that doesn't make me very happy about it. Anyway, let's quickly dig through these remainders here, which are Scentsy Wax Melts. I pretty much use Scentsy exclusively. I buy it from my best friend, Lisa. I am not a consultant, but I've been purchasing Scentsy for years now. I find it to be the most consistent wax melts for me. I'm not much of a vendor wax person. I did 1 year try a few different vendor wax companies, but it just wasn't to my liking because I felt like I had to change the wax more often. I still have pretty good luck with being able to get multiple days out of my Scentsy wax. I see a lot of people saying that they only get like a day out of their Scentsy wax. That has not been my experience yet, but I mean, maybe it's the types of scents that we are using where the difference lies. But for me, I still get at least a solid 2 to 3 days out of, you know, a couple of cubes, and that's good enough for me. But I don't want to have to change my wax every single day, which was what the problem was with vendor wax for me. So, all right, Warm Winter Nights. This was delicious, and honestly, I liked it so much that I think I want some more. These were the holiday bricks for this year, so I can still get this. So you might see another Scentsy haul coming up here because that was absolutely delightful. This is a brick from previous holidays. This is the Sweet Orange Pomander. And honestly, this is probably one of my least favorite pomander fragrance. I mean, there is definitely some orange in here and there is a little bit of spice, but it's just a really perfumey, spiced orange scent. And I don't know, it wasn't like my favorite. It's fine, but I'm definitely glad that I finished it at this point. So I love me a brick. These bricks are hysterical to me because here's a regular size and then here's a brick, which is bigger than my enormous head. I do have a really big head. Not bragging about that. It's just what I've heard my entire life. My nickname as a child was Melon Head, if that says anything to you. Okay. Very good pumpkin. Man, I love this. This is so good. It reminds me of pumpkin, what is it? Pumpkin waffles. Berry pumpkin waffles from HomeWorx. So good. I don't think this is available anymore, but man, if this ever comes back, put it in your club. It is so good. Gingerbread pecan waffles, so good. This is absolutely delicious. So warm, so cozy. It's basically like pumpkin pecan waffles, but instead of the pumpkin, you get a soft gingerbread. Not like that like ginger snap where it's a super spicy ginger. It is not that at all. It's soft European ginger. So good. And it's like it's blended with the pumpkin pecan waffles. Again, minus the pumpkin. Just think the pecan waffle part. All right, sips of cider. So good. I think there might be 2 of these in here. I'm sure we'll find it. But yeah, this was absolutely delicious. Loved it. Good experience. White peach and cranberry. Now this was new for the holidays this year. I don't know why they would pick this for a holiday fragrance. I don't smell much in the way of cranberries here at all, but I do smell a good peach. I think this would be a great summertime fragrance. In fact, I think I might have 1 or 2 more. I'll probably honestly save them until this next summer and melt them then, but delightful. This fragrance here, Berry Apple Shortbread. This smells nothing like Berry Apple Shortbread. If you are interested in getting this one, you're getting a lemon scent. I don't know why they named this what they did, but this smells so lemony to me. It smells like a lemon cake or like a lemon bar type fragrance. Delicious, but not a fall fragrance and nothing like the name implies at all. So that was a little bit weird. Ginger Cookie Crunch. I don't remember what collection this was from, but I did like it. It's a little bit softer. I think in terms of like the gingerbready type fragrance from Scentsy, this gingerbread pecan waffles is much more to my liking, but good to experience this one as well for sure. Here is Hay Rides. This was from the fall. This is more of a perfumey type of fragrance. Reminds me a little bit of the sunflower fragrance from the 90s. Go back in time with me here. If you remember sunflowers, this smells kind of similar to that. Nice, but not something that I put in my club or anything like that. Happy birthday. There are 7 bars of happy birthday in my club, so you guys know how I feel about happy birthday. I can't get it right now. When it comes back, I'll bring back my bar voting. Make sure you vote for it. Another sips of cider. We've already discussed that. 1 more wax melt here, and it's another happy birthday. So delicious. And then lastly, these, I'm actually getting ready to probably switch these out. I started using the Pura system this past year, and next year, I'm gonna purchase their new Pura. I think it's called the Pura 4. It is meant for larger spaces. I just have the Pura plugins, like the wall plugins. Wait, is that what the Pura 4 is? I think Pura Plus is what I'm thinking of getting next. It's like a bigger like tabletop type situation. But anyway, I've had a really great experience so far with all of the Pura that I have used. Now I've gone through Nest Pumpkin Chai, 4 of those, because I've got 2 warmers, and you stick 2 of these into your Pura each time that you refill it. It is the easiest system to use, you guys. You basically download the app and it walks you through everything. It's genius. You can control it from your phone. So if you are away from home and you forgot to unplug your Pura or whatever, you can just turn it off. You can turn it off from your phone. I love technology. Anyway, moral of the story is this is the HomeWorx Pura in Frozen Balsam, and then Garland Berry. Frozen Balsam is definitely a cooler tree type scent. It's not my favorite, but definitely a nice holiday fragrance. I really like alternating between the Garland Berry and the Frozen Balsam. So what I do is basically one day I select for Frozen Balsam and one day I select for Garland Berry, but you can time this out however you want. So yeah, anyway, I really enjoyed these, and I'll definitely be getting more of these Pura scents from HomeWorx this next year, because like I said, it's a great system, really easy to use. So all right guys, that is everything for this video. I'm so sorry that this was so long, but I don't know, I feel like it's a good way to wrap up some final thoughts on all of these home fragrance items. Let me know if you have any questions. Remember to check the description box. And if you're interested, tomorrow I will be sharing my beauty empties from the month of November. And I went through a ton of stuff there as well. So it was a good month for using stuff up and getting it out of the system. And I'm gonna work on recycling here and cleaning up these jars. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.